Good morning, students, and welcome back. This is class 6, subject Social Science, chapter number 8 of History, and the name of the chapter is Ashoka the Emperor Who Gave Up War. As you know, we have already covered all the topics of this chapter in our lecture number 1 and 2. Today we are going to recapitulate all those topics that are in the summary lecture. So it's going to be our summary lecture. Okay, so the topics that we'll cover for recapitulation are number 1, an empire, number 2, Maurya Empire, number 3, important cities of Maurya Empire, number 4, administration of Maurya Empire, Ashoka, a unique ruler, and Kalinga War. Number 7, Ashoka's Dhamma. Number 8, it will be Ashoka's inscription. So these all topics we have already covered. Today we are going to summarize these topics. Clear? So our topic 1, what is an empire? How we define the empire? A group of nations or states ruled by an emperor is called empire. Okay, the group of states, provinces or nations that is ruled by an emperor, that is known as an empire. It is different from a kingdom. As we always speak in Hindi that king was there in the famous king of that kingdom. So how this empire is different from a kingdom? First, empires are larger than kingdoms and needs to be protected by big armies. As their size is large, so the emperors they kept the big armies to protect the empire. Number 2, empires need a larger number of officials who collect taxes. As we discussed that the different officials were appointed by the emperor. In this chapter also we talked about those officials were collecting the taxes. So if the land is more or the more people are living, okay, so more officials are needed to collect the taxes also. So in conclusion we can say that empire that is larger than the kingdom. Our next topic is Maurya Empire, the main topic of this chapter. As in this chapter we talked about the Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta founded an empire more than 2300 years ago. He was the grandfather of great ruler Ashoka. We know that Ashoka has the a very great importance there in Indian history. So Chandragupta Maurya was the grandfather of the great ruler Ashoka, or in other word we can say Ashoka was the grandson of Chandragupta Maurya who founded Mauryan dynasty or Mauryan empire. He was supported by a wise man named Chanakya. Chandragupta Maurya, grandfather of Ashoka, was supported by the wise men there in his court, whose name was Chanakya. And Chanakya was also known as Kautilya. Clear? And he wrote about the administration system of Mauryas there in his book Arthashastra. Clear? So what was the name of the book written by Chanakya? Chanakya's ideas were written down in a book named Arthashastra. Clear? So name of the book written by Chanakya or Kautilya was Arthashastra, or Chanakya was the wise man there in the Chandragupta's court. Arthashastra explained the administration of Maurya Empire, and it also explaining the trade of that time, what type of trade the people were doing, what was famous there in northwest part of India, what was famous there in South India, that was exported from there. Okay, so administration, basically the main thing that he explained there in Arthashastra was the administration of Mauryas. Ashoka was the one of the greatest rulers of Indian history. As I told you, in history there are three rulers, those were named as the great rulers, like Ashoka the Great, Alexander the Great, and Akbar the Great. Clear? So Ashoka was one of them. The next thing is dynasty. What does it mean? What is this dynasty? When members of the same family become rulers one after another is known as dynasty. Clear? Means when any of the ruling family and the members of that same family, they become rulers one after another, that is known as dynasty. Here also we can say the Mauryan dynasty, because the Mauryan family, they became the rulers one after another. Like the Mauryas were a dynasty with three important rulers, Chandragupta, then his son Bindusara, and Bindusara's son Ashoka. So continuously from the same family there were the kings, there were the rulers in Mauryan dynasty. So that is all about the dynasty. Next is important cities of Mauryan Empire. There were different cities, as Mauryan Empire it was, so the large area it was covering, but the important cities those was considered in which the officials, merchants, they were living. So first is Patliputra. It was the capital city of Mauryas. Okay, and it was the center for all the political activities, means the administration that was held from Patliputra. At present its name is Patna in Bihar. Takshila, it was the gateway to northwest including Central Asia. So gateway means through that particular city, that was the way to move to the northwest part of India. Okay, and the next is Ujjain. It was gateway from north to south in India. Clear? So Ujjain, if we talk about that, its location is there in Madhya Pradesh, in center of India. So it was the gateway from north to south. Along with these cities, there were different more cities there, and the villages also, and the people in villages, they were busy in farming, herding, hunting, gathering. Okay, so the people there in the city, as I told you, most of the merchants, the craft persons, officials, they were living in cities, and other people, those were farmers, herders, they were living there in the village area. Clear? So the next topic is administration of Mauryan Empire, means which were the people those who were doing the administration work, those were appointed by the rulers. Okay, so let's see, as the empire was very large, different parts ruled differently. If we talk about the area in near the Patliputra, that was the capital of Mauryan Empire, that was in the direct control of emperor. Okay, and other parts there were different officials were appointed, then messengers were there. Even in different provinces, different states, royal prince were sent as a governor. So the area around the Patliputra was in the direct control of the emperor. Officials were appointed to collect taxes from different people like farmers, traders, herders. As I told you that the emperor appointed different officials, and the main duty of those officials was to collect the taxes from farmers, herders, traders, etc. Okay, and sometimes when they saw any of the person who was not following the orders of the ruler, orders of the emperor, they punished them also. Then many of these officials were given salaries. Then on these officials, the rulers, they appointed messengers to keep a watch on officials. Okay, on these officials there were messengers, those were there to keep a watch on officials whether they were working well or not. Next is the emperor supervised all the officials, messengers, ambassadors, those who were sent in the other lands. Okay, so we can say in conclusion, the overall control was there of the emperor only. Royal princes were governors in different provinces or states. As in starting also I told you, royal prince means the prince from the royal family. They were sent as governors from in different provinces in different states. So this is about the administration of the Maurya Empire. Along with this, we talked about the trade also, in which we talked a little bit that they tried to control the roads and rivers. Okay, so Mauryas also tried to control roads and rivers for the purpose of transport. Okay, so that export and import they could do easily. That's why they tried to control the roads and rivers. Okay, as through roads the road transport could be done, and through river water transport could be done. And according to Arthashastra, the northwest part was famous for blankets at that time, and the South India was famous for gold and precious stones. So, and they were collecting, as we discussed, they were collecting the taxes from the different people. That was the fixed amount, okay, that they had to give. One more thing we talked there, that was tribute. That was just like the tax, but we cannot call it tax. It was not fixed, and the people that they were not forced to give, they were giving it less or more willingly to the emperor or the officials to please them. So let's see that tribute also. Okay, the emperor and the capital city. As tribute we have already covered. So tribute that we covered in the previous lecture also, as I told you now also. So the next is the emperor and the capital city. Megasthenes wrote an account about the emperor. As I already told you, Megasthenes was the ambassador of Greek ruler Seleucus Nicator, and he was sent to the court of Chandragupta Maurya. Clear? So he wrote an account about the Indian emperor and about the capital city. According to Megasthenes, he told that the Indian emperors, whenever they went for the royal processions, they were followed by different servants. Even when they were eating something, the food was tasted by the servant firstly, so that there could not be any poison in the food. Okay, now see who was this Megasthenes. Megasthenes was an ambassador of Greek ruler Seleucus Nicator. He was sent to Chandragupta's court. Clear? As I earlier also I told you, the court of Chandragupta. He wrote a book named Indica. Clear about Megasthenes, who was he and who sent him and in whose court he was sent. These can be the short questions here. The next thing is Ashoka, a unique ruler. As we already talked about that, so have a look again. The most famous Mauryan ruler was Ashoka, the first ruler who tried to give messages to the people through inscriptions. Okay, why he was unique? One thing it is mentioned here, that he tried to take his messages to his subjects or to his people through inscriptions. These inscriptions he wrote there on rocks and pillars. Most of the Ashoka's inscriptions were in Prakrit and were written in the Brahmi script. Clear? You just focus on each and every line, because the short question can be framed from anywhere. Like here also, the short questions can be there, that why he was unique, okay, where he wrote the messages, in which language the messages were written, which script was used. Clear? He even appointed officials who were sent place to place to give his messages. That we talked about Dhamma Mahamatas. Again, we will be talking about. Okay, so he appointed the officials even for giving the messages to the different people. Now, Kalinga War, the very important and the turning point of Ashoka's life. Kalinga is the ancient name of coastal Orissa. Clear? As at present, Orissa is one of the states of India there on the eastern coast. So its ancient name was Kalinga, where the war was fought by Ashoka. And how it was turning point, we'll see. Ashoka fought a war with Kalinga. Kalinga raised a large army but defeated by Ashoka. More than 1 lakh people died there in this war, and more than 1.5 lakh people, they were injured there in this war. So it was really a great destruction of life that was made there in Kalinga war. Clear? Then what happened after then? Kalinga war proved a turning point in Ashoka's life. How? He was shocked to see heavy loss and bloodshed in the war, in Kalinga war. Clear? When after the war he saw the people, those were killed there in the war, some of the innocent people were injured, some of the innocent people were killed even. So he was shocked to see that bloodshed. He repented and decided to spread brotherhood, love, and peace. After looking over the destruction of life, he repented on that and decided to spread brotherhood among the people in the world. Okay, and in India, love and peace also. Then he also decided not to fight any more wars. That's why the chapter name it is given Ashoka, the emperor who gave up a war, who stopped taking part in the wars. He worked for the welfare of the people. Okay, then after this war he started doing different welfare work for the people, like the digging of the wells, for making, for building different shelters for people, and even the medical facilities he started given to human being as well as the animals also. So that's why we can say that Kalinga war, that was the turning point in Ashoka's life. Ashoka's inscriptions describing Kalinga war specially. Otherwise also he wrote different inscriptions, but here we are talking about the inscriptions that was describing Kalinga war. Ashoka declared, 8 years after becoming king, I conquered Kalinga. About 1.5 lakh were captured and more than 1 lakh people were killed there in the Kalinga war. And this filled me with sorrow. I have decided to observe Dhamma and to teach other about it as well. Okay, as we talked there in the Kalinga war and the turning point after Kalinga war there in Ashoka's life. So here also describing that after becoming the ruler, when he became the ruler after 8 years of that time, he conquered Kalinga, and that made him changed when he saw the people killed there in the war. Now here Dhamma word. What is this Dhamma now? Dhamma is the Prakrit word for Sanskrit term dharma, and dharma means religion. And he was also influenced by religion Buddhism. He was influenced by the teachings of Gautam Buddha. Now Ashoka's Dhamma. What was this Dhamma? Ashoka believed he had a responsibility to instruct his subjects, his people, which he did through his Dhamma. He was also inspired by teachings of Gautam Buddha that I told you. So in that Dhamma, he gave different messages, he gave the instructions to his subjects or to his people, people, those who were there in an empire. Okay, through Dhamma. He appointed officials called Dhamma Mahamata, who went from place to place for teaching Dhamma. So that step he had taken, that he appointed the officials, those were known as Dhamma Mahamata. They were sent from place to place for teaching Dhamma, and the messages he wrote there on the rocks and pillars. Language he used the Prakrit so that more and more people they could understand, as it was the language of ordinary people. He got his messages inscribed on rocks and pillars. Ashoka also sent messengers to other lands for spreading his idea of Dhamma. He sent them to Egypt, Greece and Sri Lanka. So these points we can write in Dhamma. If any question is there, what was done by Ashoka in Dhamma for spreading Dhamma. So different steps that he took for spreading Dhamma, you can write here. That the inscriptions were written on rocks and pillars. He appointed officials, those were known as Dhamma Mahamata. He also sent these messengers to other lands like Greece, Egypt and Sri Lanka. Clear? Ashoka did the work of public welfare also. The work also we can see here. He built roads, dug wells, built rest houses, as I told you, shelter houses. He also provided medical treatment for both human beings and animals. Ashoka's message. What type of messages he wanted to give through Dhamma? Being gentle with slaves and servants. Whether the people, those were the slaves or servant, you must be gentle with them also. You must treat them with love. Respecting elders, treating all creatures with love. Each one should respect the other's religion also. You should not think that your religion is superior and others are inferior. You should respect others' religion also. You should respect Brahmins and monks also. These were some of the messages those he wanted to give. He was giving that in Dhamma. Clear? So these were some of the topics in the chapter. One more was there, that was Great Wall of China. In second lecture we have already covered that in elsewhere, but one thing you should remember, there in second chapter, the length, you can say how long the Chinese wall, the Great Wall of China was, it was 6400 kilometers. By mistake there it was written 24. The time period it was built there 2400 years ago, but the length of that wall was 6400 years ago. So that's it for the topics. Now homework, and in homework you will get one assignment today. Like question number 1, fill in the blanks. Officials collected dash from area under the direct control of ruler. So what the officials were collecting? Royal prince often went to the provinces as, so that you will write here. Number 3, the Mauryans rulers tried to control dash and dash, which were important for transport. Next is people in forested region provided the Mauryan officials with dash. The Arthashastra tells us that northwest was important for dash. Ashoka was inspired by the teachings of dash. Second question, true false you will do. Ujjain was the great way to northwest. Chandragupta's ideas were written down in Arthashastra. Kalinga was the ancient name of Bengal. Most Ashokan inscriptions are written in Brahmi script. The Arthashastra tells us that South India was famous for its gold and precious stone. Number 6 it is the empire that Ashoka ruled was founded by his father. The next question number 3 is who built Great Wall of China? Again I am reminded you that there 2400 kilometers long was written, but it is 6400 kilometers long. It was built by the Chinese emperors. Number 4, who wrote Arthashastra? Number 5, what is the ancient name of coastal Orissa? Orissa or Odisha, both are same. Name some cities of Mauryan Empire. Number 7, name the book in which the ideas of Kautilya were written down. Number 8, what is Dhamma? Number 9, name the provincial capital of Mauryan Empire. Question number 10 it is, who was Seleucus Nicator? Which the region that was popular for production of blankets during Mauryan period? Number 12, who was Chanakya? Why was Great Wall of China made? Number 14, which script was used in Ashoka's inscription? Number 15, who founded the Mauryan Empire? Number 16, name the capital of Mauryan Empire. Okay, in which current state of India is it located? Both the things you will write here. Number 17 it is, name some countries where Ashoka propagated Dhamma, where he sent the Dhamma Mahamatas, that you will write here. So I hope that you will be able to do all these questions and try to frame more short questions from the chapter so that you can revise the chapter for the pen paper test. Now it's turn for the homework solution of lecture number 2. How did Kalinga War prove to be the turning point in Ashoka's life? He was shocked to see heavy loss and bloodshed in the war. He repented and decided to spread brotherhood, love and peace. Number 3, he also decided not to fight any more war. He worked for the welfare of the people after that. So that's why it proved to be the turning point. What were the means adopted by Ashoka to spread message of Dhamma? He appointed officials called Dhamma Mahamata, who were sent to place for teaching Dhamma. He got his messages inscribed on rocks and pillars. Number 3, Ashoka also sent messengers to other lands for spreading his idea of Dhamma. He sent them to Egypt, Greece and Sri Lanka. So these were the points these were the steps that he took for spreading Dhamma. Question number 3, in which script was Ashokan inscriptions written? And question number 4, both the answers we will be taking now. Question 3, the script that he used there, Ashokan inscriptions were written in Brahmi script. What was special about Ashoka as a ruler? Ashoka was the first ruler who tried to take his messages to his subjects through inscriptions. So this is the solution for homework that you received in lecture number 2. I hope that all the topics are cleared with this summary lecture today. Thank you and have a nice